Art Schroeder, who you might recall, came after you at Stanford, and he said last week about you that you had a bit of a temper. Could you talk about that in your career and maybe how you saw that in other great players who might have also had strong tempers?
I did have, my temper was, it's something that I regret, that I couldn't harness it a little better. It made me very competitive. I mean,
That's what I'm thinking.
But maybe I hurt myself. I don't think in all my years of playing that my temper ever hurt anybody I was playing with. But it did hurt me, I think, at certain times. If I wasn't going too good, I was subject to withdraw from a golf tournament. And that I really regret. It's something if I had to do it all over again, I never would. But kind of a funny story that all the caddies, they said, well, you know, how do you spell Rosburg? They said Rosburgwd. But yeah, I think it hurt me in one way and it helped me in another. I'd get angry at myself and I'd go out and try a little harder maybe the next week. But I did have a temper. There's no question about that. I can't deny that. And you know, I threw a few clubs, and but it was just me, I guess.
Yeah. Could you talk about a couple of your all-time favorite players, in whatever way you want to characterize that for yourself?
Well, I always thought Hogan, because he was there when I was just starting on the tour, and I became good friends with Ben, and he was a good guy. He's a little misunderstood, I think, but he had such a great competitor spirit that it was great to see him play. In fact, the year at Oakmont when I finished in the top 24, he won by, I don't know, 5 or 6 shots, and I went out every day because I was played a little earlier, and I'd watch him finish just to watch him how he operated. He was great. Of course, Arnold, as I said, I traveled with him. He's been a great friend all through my life, and wonderful for the game. Great guy to watch. I think Trevino did a great service to the game. Coming up from what he did, he was nothing, you know, but then came up and became a great player and a great champion. And then you go on to Watson and Nicklaus. There've been a lot of good guys. Another really good friend of mine who I still see quite a bit of is Ray Floyd. A lot younger than I was, but we traveled together some and became very close. Raymond became a great player and a great champion. Did a lot for the game. And then the guy that probably is my best friend now among the golfers is Curtis Strange. And I think that we got to know each other and like each other because both of us had the same kind of a temper. Curtis was tough on himself, but I became very close with Curtis and still am, especially when he went to work for ABC and everything like that. But he was a great player. I thought the best in the world for about 5 years. And you know, they were all just good guys. Another guy I got along with great, and that a lot of people didn't much care for was Weiskopf, and again, he had a terrible temper. Our wives used to get together and say that, you know, they think they know why we liked each other because we're both so nasty. But, I've met a lot of great guys, and a lot of the younger guys, I don't know them as well as I probably would like to, but Payne Stewart was a great guy to watch, and to see him come up and do what he did, it was wonderful.
I noticed in your office the photo montage of your swing at age 3, and it struck me. It kind of recalled Tiger, and as a young boy, any.
Well, I don't know. You know, I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I started hitting balls at such an early age, and I was in Ripley's Believe It or Not when I was 3 years old, and then when I guess I was 5 or 6, and Admiral Byrd had just come back from the North Pole, and they talked to the people, I guess it was Fox Movie Tone, who took the pictures that you saw in there when I was 3, and I ended up going out on the vaudeville circuit with Admiral Byrd. He was the feature, of course, that I'd hit cotton balls into the audience, and I don't remember anything about it, but and my mom traveled with me. I guess I was out there for about 3 months or something like that.
Oh my goodness.
That's a fascinating story with Admiral Byrd.
Most of the people nowadays, you talk to golfers and you say, "Yeah, I was out there with Admiral Byrd." Admiral who?
Yeah,
I don't know
exactly.
who Admiral Byrd is.
Well, you think of the Stanford players through the years. I know that it's not really possible, perhaps, to compare them, but you think of going back to Charlie Seaver,
Yeah,
and,
Lawson Little.
Lawson Little, and then up through your era.
Malcolm McNaughton. There were some
Yes.
really good players there.
It's been an illustrious group. They, as you know, they won the NC2As this past year.
You're right.
The eighth title.
That was great.
That's one of the
That is
top
correct.
university records.
Yes, it is.
Right.
That's third.
So that's really something to be proud of, to be valued, and you're very much a part of it.
Well, I guess Stanford finally passed Ohio State for major championships too. Of course, Tiger.
Tiger had something to do with that.
But you know, you go
Tom
back.
Watson had
you go
something
back.
to do with
Lawson won, and
Absolutely.
of course Watson, and I won one. And Stanford's had some great players, and I think a lot of it has to do with the wonderful golf course they have to work with. And of course, it's still the most beautiful place in the world to go to school, and I think anybody that has the ability to play well enough and the academic standard to get in should seriously consider going to Stanford, because I don't think they'd be making any mistakes, I'll tell you that.
Thank you very much for talking with us. Is there
Yes.
anything that you'd like to say that we haven't asked you about, or that you haven't yet had an opportunity to?
Well, I'd like to say something about the coaches that have been there, you know.
Yeah, that's
Eddie was a great guy, and Bud Finger, I knew him very well, and Jesus, my name escapes me. The good fellow was there for so
Wally
long.
Goodwin.
Wally Goodwin.
Wally Goodwin, what a great guy. You
Yes.
know, it was just super, and I've gotten to know Conrad Bray a little now, and he's a wonderful guy.
He
I
is a
think he's
wonderful
been a
person.
great addition.
Yes.
On the whole, we've had great coaches, and a wonderful place to play. Great atmosphere.
If you could elaborate just a little on Coach Twiggs, since you played for him and you said that you admired him.
Well, he was such a gentleman. He was a classy guy. He dressed wonderfully. He loved to have a good time, but he knew when to do it and when not to do it. He never. The thing that I prided Coach Twiggs on is he never really got honest about our game. You know, he said, you know, if you can hit balls, and as much as I said I played baseball in the same quarter as golf, and it was hard for me to work both of them in. And again, I could have probably practiced more when I was at Stanford, but playing baseball and golf and trying to go to med school or pre-med, and which I quit after 2 years. I just couldn't handle it. My dad being a doctor, it was hard to quit, but I couldn't handle it. And I was a real good student when I went to Stanford, but when I got out, I had to beg to get out. I had to beg a grade from my Spanish teacher to graduate. So, but it was a great time. But Coach Twiggs was wonderful with the fellows we had. We all had a lot of fun. He tried to do as well as he could for us. And golf, of course, was sort of a minor sport in those days. And school, I don't know whether they didn't have the money or whether Al Masters didn't want to give it to us or anything, but you know, we didn't exactly travel first class. But Coach would do everything he could. Coach Twiggs did for us, and he was a great gentleman. Not only a coach, but he was a real. He's a tradition at Stanford, and he did the school a great service to be the kind of man he was.
Was he a player?